It is a new season, the new year in WWE. They played the video last night where Triple H is like, okay, we're done. And then something gets slapped on his desk. And all right, well, that was the offseason. Now it's up into the next year. And that is what it is like for wrestling fans, as the Raw after Mania has kind of taken on a life of its own. And sometimes the hype can overshadow what we actually get to experience on the Monday after WrestleMania. But this is the first one in the Netflix era. So what do we get? I think the first thing, you need a strong angle with Cena saying he's going to ruin wrestling on Monday. I would imagine this means we get the spinner belt back in some way, shape, or form. I hope it is more than just that. Like, I know, talking about this with AEW, I know I can be very impatient when it comes to these sorts of stories, where I can really want there to be, I just want to know everything now. Let's just get to the next thing and get moving, and let me know that now. And so I know I can be impatient, but this feels like it needs to be a very big episode of Raw, and this story needs to make us forget that underwhelming feeling we had not even 24 hours ago at WrestleMania. That this needs to make us feel like, okay, holy shit, here we go. This is going to be amazing. Like, not to speak positively of the human being, but Brock Lesnar coming back to come out and beat the shit out of John Cena after that. Now, don't literally do that, but having that sort of a thing where after Raw, you are buzzing. It's like, I can't wait till we get to Raw next week and get this ball rolling again, because that is not the feeling right now. The feeling right now is I am interested to see Raw, because I need to make sense of this and I want this to be fun again. And that was not fun. So again, what is this strong angle that we are getting with John Cena? Do we get more of a Rock tie-in? Is there more of a group out of this than just John Cena? And what do we have now in this particular thing? And so look, like this is the first time in the Triple H kind of era here where momentum is rather not significantly down, but momentum is down. Things are like public perception anyway is trending a little bit negatively for the first time, and they were feeling themselves this week. You could tell in the lead up to WrestleMania where like they are taking some not so veiled shots at AEW, and they are just flaunting political stuff all over the place, which they would never do. But there was a lot of just like, yeah, we know we're on a roll right now. So where now do they go that has slowed a little bit? Because we have seen a number of wrestling promotions, and I'm not going to say the John Cena thing is going to kill WWE or anything like that, but we have seen a number of promotions have a really difficult time getting that momentum and getting that ball rolling once it has stopped going in a different direction. So fascinated to see how Triple H will respond with all of this tonight. I am anticipating a Rusev debut. I think a lot of us were anticipating that on Monday. On Sunday with the Randy Orton thing. So I am anticipating we get some form of a Rusev involvement. I am going to keep kind of going to bat for Jeff Cobb being the muscle of a new Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman group, and have him be integrated in that way. And that is another follow-up I'm interested by. This one isn't a make it make sense. This one is more of a, I just want to see where they go with it, because that was the best thing really coming out of Monday Night Raw was coming out of WrestleMania into Raw was the Rollins Heyman situation that was brewing there. So I am really hoping that turns into a bit of a faction. I think that a lot of times as wrestling fans, we can get a little bit too faction warfare-y. And even, like, honestly, after we finished the stream last night on twitch.tv/primetimepk doing WWE 2K25, I went into the universe mode for the first time, and everyone's in a faction. And that can get a little watered down and everything too. But I do think that there could be a value still, if you are going to have any Rock involvement, having a Rock Cena kind of a faction, bringing that in, having Rollins have a couple of other guys with Paul Heyman to help elevate them a little bit. And I do think the time is now for that. When you hear Roman Reigns talking about how he only has a couple of years left, Randy Orton was just in his 20th WrestleMania. There's a reason only a couple of guys get to 20 WrestleManias, because that's very hard, and you then have to be quite old. So that is definitely going to be a thing. Kevin Owens, I don't think he is super close to retiring, but having a neck surgery that takes you out 12 to 16 months certainly doesn't lengthen your clock at all. And Cody Rhodes isn't the youngest cat in the world anymore either. So that there is now, I think while they still have this momentum and while they still have all these eyeballs, I do think that there is a little bit of importance to at least put some of the spotlight on some of the younger talent in some of these elevated ways. And so that's why a Jacob Fatu is really important now. A Braun Breaker feels massively important given the major performance he had in the lead up to WrestleMania and at WrestleMania 41. So I do think now is the time to start factoring some of those guys in, and the easiest way to do that is by the way of factions. But another thing I was thinking going into this Raw tonight, I do think that while we can make our jokes about the brand split, and I will still hold on to the belief that a brand split can be a good thing, and all of that, but I do think that there is a need for a draft now. They've kind of fallen into this thing where they've been doing draft in the fall for the new season of it, but this is really the start of a new season in WWE, right? We talk about that a lot, but this is kind of the new year in World Wrestling Entertainment. And coming out of WrestleMania, it is a chance to freshen some things up. It is a chance to give some new life into some characters and shuffle the deck a little bit. And there's a couple I think that could really benefit from that right now. One of them is Charlotte. You look at what is going on in the women's division right now over on SmackDown, and there isn't a whole lot for her at this particular moment, right? Like, I don't think anyone's really clamoring for the Tiffany-Charlotte feud to continue, and honestly, that felt Dunsky on Monday, or on Saturday, right? Like, that felt like it was over and done. So what is next for her? I think getting drafted over to Monday Night Raw would kind of liven things up for her a little bit. Gunther, kind of same thing. Like I am sure we get somewhat of a rematch in there, but now we're beating him too many times, or we're having just a transitional championship thing with Jey Uso, and that doesn't help anybody. And so the easiest way to kind of avoid that is to draft Gunther over to SmackDown and just put them on different sides, and have Gunther start to work up on the title picture over on the undisputed WWE championship side of everything. And so I do think that coming out of WrestleMania, where you do have a finality in a lot of these things, that is really the time to start doing this draft and start to really push that forward now for you. So that is kind of something that I would consider as just a little bit of advice from me towards the WWE. A couple more things that I'm looking for on Raw tonight, but a reminder, if you've missed any of this live stream or just, really enjoyed it, give it a like, or a follow or a subscription wherever you are based on or watching this on. But also you can catch it in podcast form, available on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm also wondering if we do get any kind of AAA or AAA integration into all of this tonight. You have the big announcement that caught a lot of people off guard on Monday. There have been some very subtle crossover stuff before with JBL going over there and getting involved in some stuff, and Chad Gable. There's obviously the Lucha thing involved with that. I'm obviously the spotlight would be Vikingo. Is there anything with him, maybe in the El Grande Americano storyline or anything like that? But I wonder now that we are. It's April 21st today. June 7th is going to come up very, very quickly. I wonder if we get any of that promoting towards the show in June with Worlds Collide. The one more thing I would like to see, I want a renewed focus on the New Day. I think they win the tag team titles, and that's awesome. And the match was a little lackluster, but I think that you come off of a hot angle with Big E, and then you don't have any Big E involvement in anything in the build-up to this, and it is just, it has lost so much steam, and they are having to rely on just kind of generic heel tactics to try to be this heel thing. And so I think that is a story that needs a bit of a shot in the arm going into this kind of new year for WWE. So those are a couple of things that I'm looking for from Monday Night Raw tonight. As always, wherever you are taking this in, we're going to have a Raw recap coming up tomorrow, streaming live at 10 a.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, and then available in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts.